Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the webinar series from Praja Setu, where we are discussing on elections in your country and the role of youth in the election process. This is in regard of an electoral literacy fest that we are running through our organization, which is called the Bharat Electoral Literacy Fest. May I now call upon our guest and the panelists to introduce themselves. Let me start with Tamsir Salah.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Sorry for my voice. Anyway, I just woke up, not like good morning, good afternoon, good evening. From wherever you join it, I am Tamsir Salah from the Gambia. Yeah, but I'm currently living in the Netherlands. A member of Congo, that is the official children's and youth consequency under the UNFCCC, with the loss and damage working group. So the adaptation working group. So I'm also a member of the Gambia Environmental Alliance, like youth-led organization in Gambia that is coordinating all environmental-related activities in Gambia. Also, member of ESWAL, that is the International Association of Students in Agriculture and Related Sciences. Its headquarters is in Belgium, Brussels. So, but I'm a member in the Netherlands. So, actually, also a party delegate for the SP58 in Bonn, where in the Gambia for the SP58. And also, I was just recently nominated on the Yongo. Actually, attend the 24th meeting of the adaptation, meeting under the UNFCCC under the adaptation group. So it's actually a pleasure to be here to share my viewpoints with some of my other colleagues. So
thank you, Tamsir. Welcome. Let me go ahead to Sylvia. If please introduce yourself to us.
Can you hear me?
Yes, certainly.
Yeah, my name is Sylvia Isembo from Uganda, specifically Kampala, like the capital city. That's where I live. And a member of Yango and the banker. Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sylvia. We are glad to have you here too. If we can go ahead with Paul. Hello, Paul. Can you please introduce yourself?
Good morning. Good afternoon to everyone. Paul Cooper from Liberia, capacity builder, and someone who just contribute toward the success and growth of our environment, actually involving the peaceful democratic process in Liberia and Africa. So I'm going to be here sharing the little knowledge we can and to network. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Paul, for coming here. I'd like to go ahead with Kudzanai. Hi, I hope you are there with us, Kudzanai. Can you please introduce yourself to us? Okay, I think since she's traveling, she has issues with the network. So we'll go further with Crispin and again get back to her. Hello, Crispin. How are you doing? Hello.
Hello, critical. Introduction to coming to join the session. So I would like to introduce me. I'm Chris Prindakan. So I'm a environmental activist, a geologist researcher, lead of Climate Law GFC is a movement for YAF, which engages to make sustainable development goals and fighting of climate crisis goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Crispin. Thank you for coming. Kudzanai, do we have you with us? She is from Zimbabwe, and when she joins back, maybe she can talk more, tell us more about her. So let us quickly go further with the core and the idea of the discussion. So my first question to you would be about the political participation. So how actively do citizens in your country participate in the electoral process? And are there any particular factors or initiatives that encourage or also hinder political engagement among the population? And we can start with the same sequence. Tamsir, would you like to start first?
Yeah, so actually, first of all, thank you for inviting me here. It's actually a pleasure to be here. And share my perspective about the political issues and because I fully understood our political dimension. I'm speaking in the context of Gambia. Yeah, despite I'm in the Netherlands, but I'm speaking in the context of Gambia because I know more about the political space in Gambia, and then I actually participated in the political processes as an election observer or electoral observer as a consequence of supervisor for both the National Assembly and the presidential election. So I knew the political dimension in Gambia and the role of young people towards shaping the political space. So over the years we actually experienced some tyrant leadership as young people will claim the past regime 22 years of leadership young people were not actually very satisfied about the leadership of then regime and then that really demotivated them towards participating in the electoral process or the political space towards how best we can harness the democracy of our country because many young people's rights and responsibilities or democracy were abused as claim and then that really lead them to make sure they lose interest towards the political processes of the country and then when young people decide to share their voice and opinions, it's not being widely received or widely accepted as because we've actually understood that in Gambia where we have a stable population of about 60% of our populations are young people. So it is definitely very paramount for young people's participation towards the political process. It's actually welcome. But then over the years, it's not been as it's supposed to be. So that really demotivated the young people towards the political participation. So after the past regime, the current regime, in 2016, where the Gambian people said, we need a change of leadership in a way that, at least, people come together and, share their democratic rights and to exercise their franchise towards making sure that, we get the Gambia we want. That was how we actually, have that clarion call of Gambia has decided. Because in 2016, we have a lot of campaign, with young people, both in Gambia and the diaspora to campaign towards making sure that, we change the regime because it was a regime where people feel their needs and aspirations were not actually, look up to. So they decided to have a strong campaign to see that, we change the government of the then regime. So that was how different political parties came together with the support and help of the young people. We have a coalition that is to see that, at least they actually, remove the president through the ballot box. Democracy was definitely, introduced in that time or in that era where young people's participation was widely recognized because young people went out to campaign and to make a lot of sensitization and awareness creation for the need to have a new government and the need for us to restore democracy that we are known for because for development to take place, the role of young people is paramount and the role of young people is paramount, but democracy is actually, a center stage towards development. So that was why young people were definitely motivated to come together to campaign nationwide to see that, young people are actively involved towards making sure, we actually take part in the electoral processes. That was how it happened. And then, fortunately, it was success. We actually, were able to defeat the government through the ballot box. Despite, he refused that he will not go down because, we have some discrepancy with the Electoral Commission. The results were not actually, valid because they announced the results. And when they came, they said they had some issues with the results. So it was definitely chaotic in Gambia where young people, many people's lives were actually, at risk. People were forced to go for exiles. Some people have to go flee the country and all those things just to be afraid of their lives being compromised. So, but then, thanks to some of the, the veteran politicians in Gambia, the likes of Khalifa Saleh, who was the spokesperson of the coalition, he really, really tried to make sure that, he calmed the general population to tell them, there is no cause for panic or whatever, let us be stable. So when we knew that already we actually won the election, when the stipulated time, comes, the president who is won through the ballot box will definitely go down. So it was so chaotic that the president refused the election and said he's not going to step down until ECOWAS have to come and intervene. So it really caused a lot of chaotic issues. And people, the young people, were having hopes towards the newly democratic or the newly established democracy in Gambia. But then after the new the new elected government came in, we feel the young people's plight and needs were not actually asked. They campaign it for because they were having a lot of hopes that there will be a lot of job creation opportunities for them, and there will be a lot of opportunities for them to actually excel into the newly found democracy of Gambia. But then for the past 3 years or 4 or 5 years, the young people didn't really found themselves into the needs and aspirations of the government that they actually fought for. And that really, is so shocking that, it really deprived the young people from participating into the political process. Because, in Gambia right now, in terms of election or political processes, it's just the old and the women who are actively involved, but the young people reserve themselves to see that there is no need because what we've actually fought for, our needs and our aspirations are not actually being addressed, and that really forced a lot of young people to actually join the Mediterranean Sea to go through the back way. It is definitely very sad. I sitting here to see some of my my brothers dying in the Mediterranean Sea. It really bleeds my heart to see the young people that fought for the newly found democracy in Gambia, leaving their country because of there is no hope, there is no future for them. We really forced them to join through the Mediterranean Sea just to risk their life in the Mediterranean Sea. So it's very sad. Just last week, some of our young people lost their lives, about 21 people that we had confirmed dead through the back way just to enter in Europe in search of greener pasture. It is really sad and unfortunate that, that was not the democracy that we fought for as Gambia, because we have about 60% of our population that are young people. And it's definitely the population of less than 3 million people is easy to develop. But then it is hard that, politicians don't look into the needs and aspirations of young people. And it's actually very sad. Until now, we've actually seen some of our young people that even some of their relatives were part of those who died in the Mediterranean Sea. Even I was following them, they were interviewed. They say, even tomorrow, if I have the opportunity to go, I will go. I'd rather risk my life to go to Europe than to stay in Gambia. So it shows that there is no hope for the young people in Gambia. I really discourage them towards taking part in the electoral or political processes. It is actually unfortunate that this is the situation we find ourselves. And anytime I talk about this, it bleeds my heart because this is not the democracy we fought for. So it is there is a lot that needs to be done, but so unfortunate. Politicians don't care about the needs and aspirations of young people, and that really deprives young people from taking part or participating into the electoral process or political system. So thank you.
Thank you, Tamsir. I could understand that the words came right from your heart because you became quite emotional at one point. Thank you, Tamsir, for sharing the actuality that is happening there. And if we can go next to Sylvia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So in Uganda, we last had a presidential election that is the most valuable election in 2021. That is post the COVID and everything. But as the last election was it was a bloody election. A lot of youth lost their lives. A lot of things happened. There was an internet shutdown. So during the campaign, during the voting, internet was shut down. So there was a lot was happening during that campaign, and many youth lost their lives. Actually, I believe most of the youth can't again participate in the election. You see elections give, what can I say? They inform, they influence, people monitor, evaluate. these public decisions. But because of what happened in the last election, I don't think it will again. The youth will, yes, they are really involved in the elections because we have a youth group led organization like political party, because we've been with the same president for the past 37 years. So there is that need for change. And since the highest population of the country are youth, so there is that so much youth engagement in the elections. But a lot of vote rigging, a lot of lining up. There is heavy police and military deployment around the town so a lot of youth are discouraged from joining the elections. As we talk, some other youth are still in prison, so people are being tried in commercial courts. So that is what is happening around here. Yeah.
That's sad to learn actually, because youth are the most essential part when it comes to running the government machinery, is what I believe, since they have the energy, zeal, and vision to put things into work and practice. So that's sad to learn, but I still am very hopeful for a brighter future.
Yeah, we really hope for the brighter future. Other youth are coming up. Actually, you can't stop the youth. That is one thing I can say. You can't.
Exactly.
This generation, you can't stop it.
Right. 100%.
You can't really stop it. Like, yes, things happen. People get in prison, but not. But people come up. People come up to speak with confidence. They really speak for the truth. They really fight for their rights, for what is right and what they want. Yeah.
That's right. That's true. So,
Okay.
thank you, Sylvia. Can we go next with Paul? Paul, can you share your insights from how is the scenario there in your country, what form of government it is, and the former question that I asked altogether?
Okay, once again, thank you for the privilege to be here today. And the panel discussion actually came up when we are at the second phase of the runoff of our presidential election in Liberia. So in the following days, like the Tuesday coming is going to be the national election where two presidents are going to be in the runoff to see who's going to be Liberia's next ruler. Um, sad to say, if you were to be there 20 years ago, sorry, you actually woke up to an Africa or Liberia where young people are striving with the country for modernization, but yet still youth participation is actually being left in the bin. So most young people have been left out of the process. And I'm happy to say that despite we being left out of the process, we have actually been pushing it our own ways. So democracy is actually been practiced in Liberia. The form of government system in Liberia is democracy, where young people, old people, everyone is being allowed to vote freely and fairly. The political system actually here, the political body is called NEC, National Elections Commissions, and they are a position that's actually claimed to be independent. And I will say independent, but most of the people that governs the electoral bodies are being appointed by the ruling government. So actually in Africa, we can say that yes, they are independent, but sometimes they become players in the game. But recently, we have had lots and lots of organizations in the civil spaces contributing to the civic awareness of our people. And we actually wanted to make this process universal. So we include everyone, both young people, the older ones, males, females, civil servant, political parties, and rural communities. We actually had target group that we have been in the political spaces for the peace building project. So we have had top-notch organization like NEMO. NEMO came up to have the Young Political School of Africa where most young people from Africa is almost being recognized as the Yali program. Young people from different countries in Africa come together to learn about democracy in Africa, how it's been practiced, and how transitions can be done. So the Young Political School of Africa is actually there to educate people. I actually passed through the Young Political School of Africa where I got a professional certificate in election administration, governance, and then came out the breach and all of that. But I must tell you that the political system in Liberia is democratic. And we are actually in an intense period where election is being practiced and election is about to go on the second phase. So yes, still it's Africa, this is Liberia. And I hope I did not really leave out any other questions. Sorry, but they just remind me and I'll go to them directly.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Thank you for taking us to Liberia. I'll request Crispin to go next and talk to us about and address the question.
Yeah. Thank you, Priscilla, for your question. So I can tell you that. So I'm not very fluent in English, so I can try to explain very most for that I can do in English that you are for what you are preparing. So firstly, I'm GRC. That's why in my country there is strong enthusiasm for engagement for youth, electoral process commitment among people, both young and old. For the most part, more than 70% of young people get involved massively by submitting their candidacy at the municipal, provincial, national level, and the presidential level. So the schedule is for 20 September for this year. There will be the electoral vote. Several young people have submitted their candidacy to the electoral process and have the hope of regenerative of their politics place, which sat then has been occupied largely by elder people. That's why the young people have that hope to redynamize political system. That's why that you see. Well, and that is on my concentration on my country. There is so many young people who submitted their candidature and to hope in order to redynamize the political class, and they're bringing the new system, new objection, the new side to people, and to how to develop people in their local region. That's what I find.
Thank you, Crispin. Your English is very fine. And next time I'll definitely remember to incorporate a language translator as you requested. He is more comfortable with French. So thank you for being considerate and giving your suggestions. And Kudzanai, do we have you with us? Are you comfortable talking now? Since she's traveling, I think we can have her talking sometime whenever she's comfortable. And let's go ahead with the discussion. So my next question to you would be on youth representation. So what is the level of youth representation in elected offices or political parties in your country? And can you highlight any young leader who have made a significant impact on the political landscape? We start with Tamsir, as usual.
Thank you very much. This is actually important that youth actually represented in the decision making process. As a youthful population in Gambia, the role of young people and youth representation is paramount because if you're talking about our national development plan where it focuses on strategy decision making processes, but it's not being reflective, like it is claimed, but then like young people are really doing well in the political sphere, despite not given the opportunity or the required representation. But they're actually doing well, and then especially starting from the grassroots, grassroots politics, in the regional politics, they're really performing up to expectation to see that they represent the voice of the voiceless, because they're actually willing, determined, and committed towards making sure and young people will love to give legacy or leave a legacy, because they feel when they're given the opportunity, they can excel in whatever they're doing. So over the years, the young people who were fortunate enough to see themselves into the political space or into the decision-making processes, I would just take reference of some vibrant young people in Gambia who actually within the political space doing amazingly well, and then taking reference of the last parliament Honorable Omar Sise, who was who was the youngest parliamentarian in the National Assembly, and then and they actually did something they make sure they pose the agenda of young people, and then to make sure they represent their people to expectation, because those are people who are actually role model to the young people or to the younger generation, to see how best they can overview the needs and aspiration towards attaining the SDGs as outlined, because it's definitely important that young people's roles and responsibilities is being recognized, and they're given the platform to share their viewpoint. So we've actually have a political space where politicians or young people are not given the opportunity to strive towards the decision making processes, but it has been dominated by the elderly people. So the young people decided to take the back seat to just be as volunteers towards towards the process. But then when given the opportunity, they perform to expectation. Because in Gambia we also have some other young people who are doing amazingly well. I would just take reference of one of the elected mayor, one of our region, in KMC, Mayor Talib Ahmed Bensouda. He is definitely a young person, energetic, and he is very focused and determined. He have over the years when he was in office, he have definitely done a lot of transformation towards his region, because he have represented and he have shown that it is not just about the elderly people, but even the young people can actually do well, and when they're given the opportunity to strive or to lead, they will definitely do something to their own level, because despite even you are not in support with some because the political dimension in Gambia, if you are in opposition or you're not supporting the particular party, you don't recognize the development that that particular individual is doing. But then it is actually a well-known fact that even those who are not supporting the party that he belongs to can actually attest to his development and his focus and his recent visionary leadership that he actually possessed. And then it really gained him the second chance, the second mandate of the young people or the people of his region to actually elect him again to serve them, because he actually served the expectation when he was there for his first time, and then that really made him so easy for him to be actually re-elected to his second mandate in the same position, because he contested against a ministerial person who is having the position of the Minister of Youth and Sport. Could you imagine someone who is a minister of youth and sport contesting with that particular individual who is just a regional representative, and he was able to win that guy with a landslide. That shows that young people are actually able and they are capable when they're given the position or the opportunity. So these are the people that you can reflect and gain inspiration towards making sure that to have the confidence that when young people are given the opportunity to lead, they will definitely lead up to expectation. Because the problem is we feel the pain and we know what the problem is all about. So when we're given the opportunity, we definitely strive and we work with diligence and we work with empathy, because you know how you are feeling. They said, he who feels it knows it. Right now, with my situation and my position right now, if I'm actually to be elected in such positions, if I cannot represent to the to the needs and aspirations of young people. I'm not being honest to myself because I already know what the young people are facing. So I will be there to make sure that, I serve the expectation and I serve to the interest of the young people because, their voices matter and their concerns matter and their needs and aspirations matter. If, the problem we face is we're not just being given the opportunity, but when we are given the opportunity, we definitely do something great and, take reference of most of the young people who are given political positions or leadership roles or positions in Gambia, and we go and assess their level of impact and assessment, or just started from the grassroots, the youth-led initiatives or initiative that young people are handling. Sometimes the problem is we're not given the support that is needed, but then despite the challenges, we still try to make sure that we bring change towards the development. As development is not just by the government, but we all have a role to play to see that we collectively join hands together as outlined in the UN SDGs. SDG 17 talks about partnership for the goal. It's not only about the government, but then, we all have a collective responsibility to see that we change towards our own. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamsir. Sylvia?
You can hear me?
Certainly.
Yeah. So at the moment in Uganda, we have various political positions that are held by the youth. And actually, the past two elections that we had, we saw youth come up to even stand for presidency. That was a promising role. Yes. So the youth have come up to stand for presidency. They've stood for parliamentary seats, and some have passed through, some have been elected, but others have not because of several factors, and one of the biggest factor being the lack of funds and facilitation, because the process is hiked, sometimes the process is long, a lot of things, a lot of factors. So, but at least the youth are coming up. Then even in the ruling party, we see they have youth representative, regional youth representatives. You find like the Eastern has a youth representative. You find the Western has a youth, the Northern like that. So at least there is inclusivity in the process, or in the whole process. At least it's promising. Then we have some youth in the judiciary. A lot of things are happening. A lot of youth are coming up to take up some. But as we said, the fact that the ruling government has been in power for so long and it is comprised of some elderly people, still some positions are taken by the much older people. But yes, youth engagements are there, youth representatives are there, and it is promising. It is promising at the moment, and we hope it gets better with time. Yeah.
I get it. Thank you, Sylvia. Paul, can you go next?
Okay. So, young people are actually active when it comes to the peaceful democratic processes in Liberia. Currently, we have 90% of the population that is into civic awareness, the CVE, is mostly being done by young people. So young people move from the far north to the rurals of the community on foot and every way they can. Personally, sometimes at even their own expenditure. So they move at their own expenses, carry on the CVE for peaceful transition. Recently, we had a peaceful transition, peaceful message that extended us to our neighboring country, Sierra Leone, to tell you that young people make the sacrifices to that. But the fact that the Constitution states that to be a representative in the House, in judiciary, in the legislature, you actually have to be 35 years of age, makes people who is being represented, who are representing the young people, a little bit older. So young people are actually coming together to realize that they need to put forward reforms to such processes so that young people themselves will be able to be at the forefront making a decision and not just at the bottom writing the decision and giving them to the people who are making the decisions and they're not doing it. So young people actually are in the full sphere when it comes to the civic voter awarenesses, when it comes to being the observers at national elections, when it comes to pushing logics and ideas for peaceful transition. Yes, young people are at the forefront in Liberia.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. So, Crispin, can you go next to address this question?
Yeah, so all of them have told you, but told by Paul and another. So of course, in our country, there is the same situation. It's the same situation. So despite our governance, in the fact, politics of the business claimants is not partially contribute to young people, but even so, there are numerous initiatives developed by implemented by young people themselves only. Why? It makes the development of young people only. That is a few words I would like to explain about this question. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Crispin. So we have Kudzanai back with us, and I request her to put her camera on and introduce her to us.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but we are not
right.
able to see you.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, but we are not able to see you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can you see me now?
Yes. Yeah, please go ahead if you can.
My network is a bit creepy, so because when I switched on my video, I then left the meeting.
No worries. So, no worries. You can go ahead with introducing yourself and addressing the questions.
All right. My name is Kuzanai Matilda, and I'm from Zimbabwe. I am an advocate for sexual reproductive health, climate change, and human rights in Zimbabwe. So I work with young people from the ages of 15 to 24 years. And currently I'm also volunteering in Yungo as well as Gelab, Zimbabwe. So, speaking to the youth in politics in Zimbabwe, we recently had our harmonized elections in 2023, presidential elections. We were electing our presidents, the cabinet, the new ministers. And as statistics show right now, young people in Zimbabwe they registered to vote, but when the voting started, because we voted in August, people had to vote, young people didn't participate. They didn't participate in the voting process, in the election process, and that led to a significant decline in the number of people and the young people that participated. So, speaking to elections in Zimbabwe, young people do not actively participate in these elections. They are scared, or I think it's the fear of nothing changes, nothing happens. So, really, a lot of youth and young people do not participate. So I'm grateful and quite happy and excited because of this opportunity, and I hope that such discussions continue and we encourage our young people to actively participate in the election process.
Thank you, Kudzana, for addressing the very important facts about Zimbabwe, and thank you for being there with us. So, if you all allow me to go ahead with the next set of questions. So my next question is youth and technology. So the thing is, in today's digital age, how has technology, including social media, influenced youth engagement in politics in your country? And what are the potential benefits as well as drawbacks of technology in this context? So Now I would like to change the sequence a little bit. If we can start with Paul first.
Okay. So, thank you. Technology is actually helping when it comes to the scope of young people participation in peaceful democratic transition in Africa, especially Liberia. If you check out social media, you notice that even political parties that were not really known by people. We had this drama where another political party, someone that was way at the bottom of the list, no one knew his political party. Because of social media influences, you notice that people actually, he got to be something like he carried 13% of the total vote within the country, someone that no one knew. So by engaging social media, people actually are able to carry out their messages and relay their messages. And using the media and content and everything, people are able to reach people in the rural communities, far rural communities. So they use radios, they use Facebook, they use WhatsApp, and then their message get there faster. So they use jingles. So social media technology has actually been a key tool when it comes to expressing peaceful transition messages when it comes to our democratic affair in Liberia. So yes, it has actually been helpful.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Crispin.
Yeah, okay. Very much so about the technology stuff.
Sorry.
So yeah, okay. Do you hear me?
Yeah, can you can go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So I'll tell you about young people manage to access all content related to the country politics. Yeah, they analyze, criticize, and popular solution to political issue via social network. And they do research on the internet to sometimes ensure the veracity of the story on publication they can find on the web. Social networks have become a platform for raising awareness and the electoral campaign for young people. And their consumption is increasing day by day. That's what I would like to say. In my country and in my uh, province, exactly. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sylvia? You're on mute, actually.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I said, can I speak last? I'm still finishing. That's something I'm at work.
Oh, okay. No issues. So, can Kudzana go next? Do we have you here with us? Kudzana? I think we've lost. I'm not sure. Okay, so Tamsi, can you go next with the question?
Yes, sure. I'm actually very sorry for the background noise at my video too. So
No worries at all.
actually, the role of, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I mean, like the role of social media is actually paramount towards like the electoral processes in Africa to be specific and Gambia to be particular, because actually social media have actually done a lot of things towards our election and our political space, because like there were a lot of online campaign and issues regarding like youth participation towards electoral processes, because with the internet or social media, like there were a lot of online campaigns for places where people or young people cannot reach. Like we definitely utilize social media to see that our young people are aware about their roles towards the political process or the electoral processes. there were a lot of online campaigns and online programs, online sensitization by the use of flyers WhatsApp, how to call it, the Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, there were a lot of social media accounts that people were using towards making sure they campaign for and mostly Gambia, many people make the best use of the social media, especially the WhatsApp, towards making sure people are aware about what's happening, especially in our broadcast. But sometimes it's been abused where a lot of this disinformation, fake news, and it really caused a lot of tension and people to be character assassination, deformation of character and whatever. People don't at some point use it wisely because despite we actually knew that the role of social media is definitely important, but then in such political situations, people definitely use it wrongly because, we've seen a lot of things happening. People use the social media to insult people, with this, also this fake news and also hate speech. We have it during the electoral process. There are a lot of hate speech and character assassination in our political space. It is as important as it is during the political process, but then it also have some other consequences that really it's not really good for our of newly found democracy because we actually tend to understand or tend to forget that democracy is not all about insulting or though we know actually it's a freedom of speech, you can speak or share your viewpoints and opinions, but sometimes it doesn't give you the green ticket or the green light to use it in the other way around where you'll be insulting people or you'll be talking bad about people when even you yourself knows that what you're actually saying is not something found. Though actually it really contributes a lot towards the awareness creation because many people in Gambia, especially the young people, have access to the social media despite the challenges that actually encountered with the use of social media the internet and whatever, the cost of internet and whatever. But then it's really paramount and important. But then at some point, it has a lot of consequences that really deprive from young people from making sure they have a sound opinion or informed decisions towards the right candidate or the right people to vote for. Because people are not well informed or the issue of fake news or this hate speech is really deprive from the sound individuals to make they're informed or right decision, or especially the illiterates who don't actually probably understand the power of social media. Okay, for example, I knew the power of social media. I can just get up one day and start talking about an opposition party and say this and this and this is what he's done. When actually I knew that it is wrong. So the illiterates who are not fortunate to understand or distinguish the wrong and the right may probably get that and try to make their own independent judgment regarding okay, this particular individual, this is and this and this and this is what he's done. So there is no need for me to vote for that particular individual. We are not well informed about this. Despite we know that the social media is powerful, it's a powerful tool to bring change, but then it also have misled a lot of people towards making sure they make the sound or informed decision towards the electoral process. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamsi. Thank you. So, Sylvia, would you like to address this question?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I told you, social media creates channels of communication, like what we're doing at the moment. So in politics or in campaigns, information or data or anything reaches its grassroots. It goes direct to the grassroots because various people are using in this era where we have social media. All people are using social media. They get whatever is happening. They stay alert. So during campaigns, all that has been able to take part in the campaigning process. Then other things, people do online campaigning. It's because the youth, as we talked about, we are discussing about the youth. The youth sometimes they don't have maybe funds to facilitate everything, but social media makes it easier for them to hold online campaigns. So they reach their how can I call it? Sorry, the word has gone to my mind. But they reach the grassroots of where the information needs to go. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Actually, that's true. That is applicable to all the countries around the world, specifically to the developed nations where perspective needs to be developed.
Critical. And actually, what happened in Uganda the last elections, 2021, I told you about the blackout, the shutdown, the internet shutdown.
Yes.
So they knew one of the ways to shut down the youth was to turn off the internet. So during that time of elections, we wouldn't do anything. We wouldn't use WhatsApp. We couldn't use it anything. So it was totally down, and that is a way because that is a way of shutting down the youth. So that is what happened.
True, I can kind of relate because there are some parts of India which faces internet shutdown at such critical hours because of expected problems coming up. So I can totally relate. And shutting up so internet means you're discontinuing communication and connection with that. Yes, so that's quite a relatable aspect actually. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Sylvia. So when it came to talking about perspectives, so my next question is about global perspectives. Since I believe that we all coming up as nations and developing as our own nations and citizens of our nations, we have as youth come up or also envision going global, a collective growth for our nation and together. So when that comes, we should also address about global perspectives here. So my question about in that context, in the global context, is how do you see the role of youth in politics evolving, and what implications does it give or have for democratic processes worldwide? Paul?
Sorry, I'm here. I was trying to get my internet connected. So sorry, can you go back with the question, please?
Can I repeat? Should I repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Okay, sure. So, in a global context, how do you see the role of youth in politics evolving, and on what implications does it have for democratic processes worldwide?
In a global context, actually, young people are doing a lot, and young people are involving to be actively in the political space. It's probably less than a decade that young people are actively into politics in Liberia since we came back from the Civil War, 14 years of Civil War. So to see young people at the forefront, calling themselves militants and they moving at the forefront, pushing the agendas and coming up with the documents and promising documents that when people are far into political offices, these are the things they are going to do, developing MOUs and, coming up with positive documents that are actually going to be a statement for tomorrow and something that young people can hold older people who are in representation for. It's actually a plus that young people in the next 5 to 10 years are actually going to be in the political spaces actively. If needed, a recommendation can be ahead. So young people are actually going to have more understanding of democracy and not only look to the older people with gray hairs to be in the forefront, but rather young people are going to be actively involved in the political space. Yeah.
Thank you, Paul. Sylvia, would you like to go next? Okay. So, Crispin?
Yeah. Do you hear me?
Right, yes, I do.
Okay. So about global perspective, so I would like to say it's very exciting and growing. So because young people have become aware of their role within society and will have to take action and a commitment to making positive change in the long run. That's what I would like to say about that point. Thank you.
Thank you, Crispin. And Tamsi?
Yeah, like it's actually a very interesting topic or question regarding young the role of young people, especially in global perspective. So because we've actually understood that young people play a crucial role not only within the regional level but even at the global level, contribute immensely towards making or bringing the future we want because as outlined in the UN SDGs, because we have a lot of uh, aspirations towards bringing the world or the future we want. So just ranging from the crisis that we actually facing in different perspectives, both in the global south and global north. But then you actually seeing young people's participation towards making sure to bring the change that we wish to see. It cannot just be as usual, but then young people create a crucial role or played a crucial role towards effective change because like one of my professor used to say development cannot be postponed, which is actually true because development cannot be postponed, and that's right. So the young people definitely, to be honest, when we give it the opportunity towards excelling in different aspects in the global level, we can definitely bring the change that we wish to see. It's only that we actually give it the opportunity to see how best we can unlock our potential. Because I don't have the belief of what we say the youth or the young people are the future leaders. Like when are we promised of the future? We are not promised of the future. we know of today, but not tomorrow. So I would say probably we are change today. Like we have to be the change that is to see change or changes begins from oneself. If we want to have a better future tomorrow, it have to start today because you don't know when it's tomorrow. So but just today that finally if it change from today where you are. So from the grassroots to the global level, it's everyone's concern and everyone's business. So because it cannot just be over. So,
Thank you, Tamsi. Kudzana, do we have you with us?
Yes.
Yes. So can you address this question for us?
All right. So, as I was speaking earlier about how, can you hear me now?
Yes, certainly. Yes.
Oh, okay. So as I was speaking earlier about how young people in Zimbabwe have not been part of the processes throughout the process to election time. So globally, we need to take it first from the context of Zimbabwe. We need to take it first at a national level, right? Educate, capacity building, have them meaningfully participate at a national level. Then from there on, we can talk about global platforms. Because as of now, I don't know how to quite explain the Zimbabwe politics, but it's not favorable for youth. It's not youth responsive, right? It's not whereby young people we say, "Oh, we have something we want to talk about," and then we are included because the systems there and then aren't inclusive for young people. So maybe if we start nationally, whereby we are being capacity builded and we know what we want. We know what we want, but I think entering systems of politics always need you to say there's a language that needs to be spoken. And as young people, sometimes we fail to get into negotiating rooms that are important because we fail to understand the language or we fail to have the necessary tools for us to advocate for ourselves. And I'll just speak to how social media influences. I think in Zimbabwe, Twitter played quite a huge role in ensuring that young people register to vote for the 2023 harmonized elections. But it wasn't effective in educating people on why the vote is important, why you need to cast your ballot. So I think social media plays a good and bad role. It's for me, I'd say it's 50-50. Hey, used effectively, it helps because young people understand social media, but they're not used effectively, then we can't go anywhere. So for us, we'd say we'd start at the grassroots level and then we go globally.
And that's fantastic to hear. Thank you. Thank you, Kutsana. And Sylvia?
Yeah, so in regards to actually, I also agree with the previous speaker. It is before we go global, I really see the reason. We have a lot of reasons to pass niche to our different countries and know what do we want, what do we demand when we go to the global, case. But also globally, at least these organizations are putting us a place where we can dialogue and know like what happens in this country. At least we are sharing information, knowing what works for you, what worked for you when this happened, what worked. So we also can't put that down. We understand that it helps. It helps in dialogues always help or create solutions for other people. So it's very good. It's better to dialogue with other countries like we are doing now to know what works for who, what works how. That is it.
Rightly said. And I also agree on the similar lines because I coming from India, here there are, we can sectorally distribute young people into different categories. One who are interested in getting into participating into the political machinery, some into entrepreneurship, and others into normal job and work. So what I believe is we cannot neglect the political sphere because somehow any decisions made in that machinery affects our daily life also. So it is very vital for youth to participate in our respective nation building first. And what is the percentage of participation today? I am though it is it's low, it should get to 100%. It should hit 100% someday, and very nearly is what I believe. Not only in India, but in every other nation that we are here talking about, and who are not here in the panel, though. Everyone, and it's vital. It's important to participate. Only when you participate will you be heard, and then once you are heard, will you be given a chance to get into the political machinery and run the nation in the right sense. So um, first, if you have a voting system, I would suggest and request young people to step out and vote in the right sense, take best decisions, do the right amount of research before you cast your vote, and then choose your representatives wisely. If you are a good leader, you yourself can nominate yourself into the political sphere wherever you fit in, right, and make best of the opportunities that are available, or else make sure that you create opportunities for yourself. And then once that is done, the vision of going global will be in full swing. And I have one more thing to add when it comes to going global is we should have platforms of this kind to have learning for each one of us. There is something that I learned from all of you today, and likewise, you must have also learned at least 1 or 2 points from the other panelists. And this is the second webinar where we are talking about elections from different countries and what is the political scenario like. So this has been a great learning experience for me and for my team. Likewise, I see it must have been for you. Even if we take one point of learning, I think that will create a very, very big impact, is what I believe. And thank you for enlightening us. In the same lines, I would like to take you forward to the question of, um, sorry, I'd like to take you forward on based on your experiences. Are there any valuable lessons or practices from your country's political system that could be applicable to India to enhance youth participation in the electoral process? And in the same lines, are there any valuable lessons or practices that you consider as key takeaways? Paul?
Okay, thank you. When I read the question, actually, first thing I smiled when I saw the Bharat, and it just made me to remember the Bharat, the rig. I used to pronounce it as Revita of I have, all of that. But when it comes to India's democracy, actually, I know that they have a parliamentary secular democratic republic system. And that's one of the part that makes every one of us unique. Be it democratic, be it republic, be it this, be it that. That's our cultural diversity. And that's what makes each and every one of us unique. But there's something actually that I think I'm actually obsessed with India, and I've actually loved the kids, the religion, the social aspect, and everything about it. But there's just something that I believe you take back to your people and your team can actually go there. I noticed that most of our people in India place caste and religion above what should have united them together when it comes to peaceful democratic transitions. So your team can actually get back to our people in India. I say our people because I'm obsessed with India with India. So you can just take back to our people that you should be able to talk to them in depth so that when it comes to peaceful transition, our people should not really put caste and religion above each other because in the end, if you were to split my fingers, you'll see red blood. And the next person, despite his religion, his social beliefs and everything, you're still going to see the same red blood. So I think you need to take back to our people, especially people in the rural areas, people that are not really literate to the peaceful democratic transition is actually hard for you. It's going to be a tough ride because I know India a lot and I've been doing a lot when it comes to India and things. So you just need to do a lot when it comes to that fast so you can take that. But actually, I learned a lot from India, but like people minding their own businesses sometimes and people sticking to their in-depth agricultural processes and being able to feed and provide for their family despite government not really being able to intervene or despite high oppression on local farmers, just still the poor persistence and everything. So I've learned that from the Indian culture and I take it back to my country like here. So I believe that we can be able to work best despite our differences. That's what makes us unique. Without the bad, you cannot fully realize the good. So despite the small ones, we can still work on it and become what we can. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Paul. And your observations are quite minute. I agree. Um, see, what you said in one line, if I would be asked to summarize, it is called the nation first policy. Nation first and all other rest. I totally agree. Youth in India are quite in that zeal of nation first and all other next. So thank you, Paul, for reiterating that. And Tamsir,
Okay. Actually, thank you very much. So it's actually a very important question that because going pretty well, the role of democracy in nation building development. It is definitely paramount for people to actually respect individual differences because, we cannot definitely join politics with religious beliefs because though despite sometimes our culture norms and values and our religion guide us towards the basic principles of our actions, yeah, but then politics cannot just be centralized on religious belief to see that we have to be specific about the religious aspect of it because we actually have a political dimension where different religious beliefs or different beliefs or people with different religious beliefs belong to a political party. So if we probably bring our those different religious beliefs in our political sphere, it will definitely compromise the democratic processes of our electoral cycles and system. So because having that dimension in some of our political space will definitely bring a lot of conflict of interest into the electoral cycle and processes. So the probable thing that we can do is to actually respect each other's difference despite wherever or which religious affairs or whatever or tribe or ethnic city you belong to. We have to definitely see ourselves as one towards a similar objective. That is to see how best we can come towards a unified development because for us to attain sustainable development and nation building, we have to definitely have one similar view towards having a sense of direction because when we probably bring in these two aspects about politics and religion, we definitely compromise our activities and our practice. Okay, let's take in reference of Gambia, where we have about 95% or so of our population are Muslim. So when we say, okay, like all Muslims have to belong to this particular party, so the minority, like I'm not saying the minority, or the other percentage, like Christians, belong to this party. So their voices cannot be heard, you understand? And it will really it's so stigmatizing and it's also so marginalizing. So in Gambia, you actually see you can't distinguish the Muslims and Christians. We are all the same, especially in terms of electoral processes, and the government system.
From
Don't
that
definitely distinguish the politicians or the Christians.
To the last number,
Hey, someone's
you should know
your son.
the number. For example,
Jara, your audio is on. I don't know. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
So
I've done it.
okay. Yeah, so it's okay. So definitely, the political space supposed to be very diverse. It cannot be just in terms of religions. We have to actually distinguish the two. But also, our religious belief have to guide our principles and our morals and activity towards sustainable people and towards a nation building and nation development. We've actually understood maybe probably I don't know more about the India's context, but then I know when the majority try to suppress the minority's voice will not be heard. So we have to collectively come together towards a similar objective towards a nation building. So especially the youthful group, because we are the hope for any nation. Youths are the hope for any nation. So we have to actively come together to have a similar voice and similar objective. Because when we have different divergent views or different objectives, it can probably compromise some of our voices. But when we come together and dialogue and negotiate and discuss about some of the issues, how best we can actually progress towards our sustainable future, definitely there's no way that we cannot get change. Maybe we have some people who are actually within the crowd. Like the people I would take reference of Omar said Kamara. He is definitely a mentor to me, and then he's actually a human rights activist who actually contributes a lot towards our newly found democracy, because young people definitely contribute and do a lot of things towards making sure we bring the youth voices together and share their contributions towards how best we can how to call it, guide jealously guide our democracy, in terms of rule of law, human rights, part of the key processes towards all those things. So I guess the young people definitely have to be effectively and efficiently used and utilized. Let them share their voice and prospects about democracy and nation development. Because it starts from the grassroots. We have to do a lot of campaign, especially to the people who are hard to reach areas. So we have to involve them and bring them on the decision-making processes. Let's hear their voice and concerns. Then we can definitely come together on the drawing board to see how best, efficient and effective representation can be actually, involved. So as no one is left behind.
Thank you, Tamsir. So, as you said, I would like to give you a context about India, since you do not know much about it. So, India's political sphere is very inclusive in nature. It's very diverse. And very recently, we had a constitutional amendment where where the government of India has declared a 33% reservation for women in to be political leaders in all the spheres, in specifically Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, that are the apex bodies, and in the state legislatures as well. And when it comes to grassroots level of governance, there is more than 50% of women participating in the political sphere as leaders. And likewise, it's not only for women. You can find politicians from various religious backgrounds and social backgrounds, communal backgrounds, everything in one place. So, one thing I feel very proud about Indian political sphere is it's very diverse, very inclusive. So, to give you a context about how India looks in a political face, this is how it looks. It's very diverse, vibrant, and inclusive of all kind of people. We have indigenous people here, tribal population. I wouldn't call minorities, but demographically less people also have representatives here, women, and so on and so forth. So I'm quite thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak about this also, Tamsir. So can we have Crispin speaking next on this question?
Yeah, thank you very much, Krisiko. Of course, valuation and practice should be taken with many consideration to improve your participation in the electoral process. Among these, or other, easy access for young people to information media space, access to well-educated staff to decision-making position within the countries, access for young people to qualitative education, because education is the basic of all things. Access for young people to jobs, because it's the basic of economic growth and the development of their country. Yeah, I think of those these different lessons and value practices above or more worth remembering. That's okay.
Thank you, Crispin.
Yeah.
Kudzanai? Then I hope you are there with us.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. So please share your ideas with respect to the question.
Okay, so in terms of what people can learn from the Zimbabwe politics is how, firstly, I would like to talk about women representation, how it has increased over the years, and how women have been actively involved in politics, and the government has been really trying to have a 50-50 representation in parliament and making sure that from Zimbabwe we have 10 provinces, so they're making sure that from each province there are 6 women that represent their provinces in the parliament. And then secondly, we can also talk about how in Zimbabwe, whereby the constitution, the law, the policies, they're written in all, the encompassing of all the 16 languages in the country. So this is inclusion in the sense that everyone is able to understand, everyone is included, and everyone can take part their different languages from their different cultures. And also this ensures that there is transparency and accountability in terms of who speaks to who and what exactly they're talking about. And then so basically that's what people can learn from Zim politics, and hopefully we can have meaningful participation and engagement of the youth.
Thank you, Kudzana. Sylvia?
Hello, I don't know if you can hear me. Sorry, my phone had my battery went off.
That's all right.
Yeah, but one thing I would like India to take up is to make very informed decisions in the electoral process. Because let me tell you one thing about the electoral process is anything is going to catch up with the community, with the population, with the people who take the votes. It will not catch up with the person that voted into the office or what, but it will catch up with us, the people. So that we have to be very conscious about it. Then the other thing I hope, one thing we can take forward is conducting grassroots dialogues to educate the voters about the electoral processes. People don't know the electoral processes. People don't know their electoral rights. So I hope India can take this up to ahead of the election, that some voters take it seriously to update their details, and when the time comes, they go and vote respectively. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you so much. So with this question, we have reached the end of our dialogue for today. I would like to keep this forum open for closing notes from each one of you. Paul, we start with you.
I want to say thank you to everyone present. Having panelists from across Africa actually made it to be so unique. And having you from India actually just made me to realize that we have had a lot of diversity of problems in each province, but here is it. We have the model where we go every day and she has experienced everything that we are experiencing here, knowing that India is actually full of vast diversity, let me say that way. I really want to say thank you to each and every one of us. So during the course of the panelist discussion, I've actually been able to see how best each and every one of us can establish our focus when it comes to elections and how we can improve youth participation and how we can be able to understand our learners, the people in which we are reaching to, be it our political actors and each and every one of them, and how our objectives can be able to go in line with our province, like in Africa, in Liberia, in Zimbabwe, in Uganda, yes. And how best we can be able to go to things that are already available so that we young people can be able to press forward for tomorrow. So I believe after here, we are going to build up our network, probably through a group chat where we can be able to design good processes in which we can be able to build this network and be able to help every one of us different programs from our diverse communities so that we can be able to document them and see how best we can be able to press forward in our diverse community of political actions. So I just want to say thank you to my African brothers and to you from India and each and every one of us being represented here today. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it all. Crispin?
Yeah, thank you so critical for this session. Thank for all the person who have panelists to different countries. So I have three messages to send closing this session. So firstly is to authority and political actor. Like to create space for integration and the qualitative political training of young people because they constitute the positive change of a nation. Secondly, create jobs accessible to young peoples. The, to the youth, I can say to actively engagement in political and the democratical issue, but also in the integral development aspects, despite the obstacle, because without it, the development of a country is uncertain. Yeah, and the last to the public. That's it trusts the young people of their country, and that the development of a country will come by themselves, thanks to the DRC work and that they support each other. Yeah, that is. And on the last show, can I recommend you critical to put and the next session to on different language. It's like French, Dutch, freely. That we can spoken very well together. Thank you very much.
Sure, Crispin. Thank you. Thank you for this recommendation. I should learn French for you now. I will consider this. Thank you. Thank you. So, Kudzana, thank you. Kudzana, do we have you?
Yes, I'm still here. Thank you so much. And I think just to close the session, I'd like to say that having inclusive engagement and participation for young people will be quite an improvement in the politics arena, especially now that young people do not have a clear perspective of what's needed and the language exactly that they can use in order to actively participate. So I think there's need for more advocacy towards meaningful participation, engagement, and ensuring that the language is inclusive of the young people. Yes, thank you.
True. Thank you. Thank you, Kudzana. Thank you. Sylvia?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for the dialogue. It has been really, really helpful, thoughtful, and it's a learning process. But there is one the likes. I want us to go with this. Efforts are needed to increase awareness about women and the youth political rights at the grassroots level, to open doors for them to actively participate in electoral and political procedures beyond affirmative action points. I think that we should all be a voice for women and the youth to actively participate in politics. Otherwise, thank you for this. It has been nice meeting you virtually, and I hope we have more engagements and discussion like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you for the strong message, and I'm sure the world will listen to your message. And thank you so much, Shamsir. Next, over to you. Thank you. Over to you, Tamsir.
Thank you. So actually, it's a pleasure to be here, honestly, and then to hear the prospects of our young people who are actually in the development space, because it definitely shows that that it's hope for the future, honestly. So because it takes and see our viewpoints towards something that is towards national or international development. So I will just definitely appreciate you as an individual who actually trusted me with this, and then invite me here to share my viewpoints about this. So, and I will also use the opportunity to actually wish you best of luck for your election and electoral cycle. So because for us actually, if a change we have to be conscious about development and our democracy, because it's important that people are definitely involved and actively engaged, and then the only way we can probably bring people on board is by having dialogue and discussion, because I feel when people are communicated to, because while many people are actually relaxing, it's they are not being sensitized, they're not being told about their human rights and their responsibility, their citizens' right and responsibility, because taking part in election or politics, it doesn't mean you actually just wasting your time. It is our human right and our citizens' right to actually take part in political cycles and political processes. We cannot just sit and allow people to decide for us. Okay, for example, if anyone who doesn't involve in politics, or if anyone who doesn't involve in election, you are automatically allowing people to decide for you what your future looks like, because I feel it's our own concern to actually take part in politics. Okay, for example, young people, when we probably sit and say, it doesn't concern us, we are not to be elected, and we decide to sit down, then we actually automatically give in green light to our leaders to actually decide for us what our future is supposed to be. But then it is about time when young people raise up and actually take the leadership and also take the initiative to actively take part in electoral processes, because that's the only way they can probably, or we can probably bring the change that we wish to see. We cannot just be there and be talking about our politicians or our leaders just on the internet. But then how can we effect the change that we wish to see? Is by actively taking part and involving ourselves into politics. Honestly, politics is everyday life. Even when you're eating, you actually exercise in politics, because if the food is not nice, you probably want to go and prepare a food that's delicious. That is your sound mind and conscious idea and decision that you've actually done. So politics is not about just election, but then it's a world or a daily life process. So it is about time youths come together, to see how best, they can definitely determine the future that they wish to see, because you cannot just talk about it, but you have to be part of the process itself, because taking part in the process is definitely giving you the opportunity and the privilege to actually design and shape the future that we wish to see. So I will once again thank you, and congratulations to all of us, and I wish us well in our strives towards seeing the future we want to see as outlined. So
thank you so much, Tamsir, and thank you to all the panelists present here today. Thank you for accepting my invite and giving your mindful thoughts here. And thank you so much. I look forward to have more engaging discussions of this kind. in a group and also one-on-one. Thank you so much for being associated with me, and thanks a lot. That's all I have to say, and looking forward to have you all in my network and let us all work together. Thank you so much.